All right, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack StoryTime. This is my man, Walt Talks. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And today we got an awesome show for you. I'm super excited about our guests. But before we get into that, hey, what's going on, Walt? How's it going?
You got it, sir. What's happening, man?
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, beautiful day in our area in Maryland. So we got out. I got out there and got to play golf a little bit, just 9 holes, playing with MJ. He's getting better every day. So I'm looking super excited about all that. Really super excited.
Yeah, I'm on the road for a few days, man. So we had a little rain today, but we'll see. Today's actually got better, but poured up here earlier, man. So yeah.
So a couple of things in the news today.
Okay, haven't been looking at the news. Haven't been looking at the news. So
but check it out. So check it out. This is golf related. So we know we had the FedEx Cup is being played. You know, they're already in their second round of the playoffs. And today I think Wyndham Clark won. He won round 2. But it came down with 4 holes left. He and McIlroy was the finals group. And McIlroy made some mistakes, and Wyndham just took advantage. He went from tied to 3 under. He was 3 strokes on him and took him out. So that was pretty good for Wyndham Clark. But then I looked in it was an article of one of the golfers out there, professional golfer. He's out on the course, and he got he was showed up late for his tee time. This is professional now. Showed up late for his tee time. And when he got there, they had 6 golfers. So he wanted to go out as a sixth. 6 people at one time. So of course the course said you can't do that. We can't go out 6s, but we'll work things out and you can go out
2 threes.
Go in 2 threes, right? So they basically said, then there's a PGA golfer now. So they basically said, okay, we'll go out as 3s. And then around the 4th hole, when they was out of sight of the clubhouse, they teamed back up.
The team.
Yeah.
In the tournament? In the PGA tournament?
This was just a regular
having
fun on the course.
But
they ended up kicking the pro and the rest of them off. They told them they got to leave.
That sounds about right.
He said you violated this and that.
So
how do you feel about that? Is that a good or bad thing? I don't know. What's up?
So, I mean, man, we've been there. We played 5. I played 6 maybe once. If you're not holding up the golf course, yada yada yada, I get it. But if the starter who is on the course, who is he is the man himself, you know what I mean? That's too much power for one man to have. If the marshal starter tells you that's what it is, that's what it is. So basically they just thumbed their nose at the starter and he showed them who was really running the show. That's what happened. I mean, it came down to egos, man. That's all that happened.
No, and I'm with you on that. That's how I felt about it. It was just unfortunate that we have, a PGA golfer out there, flexing in a sense. And there's 2 stories, there's 2 sides of every story.
3 actually.
3, right. It's your side, my side, and the truth. So with that being said, I've only heard that part, but I've seen it multiple times where people try to put 5, 6 people out there at the same time.
Sure.
If you're holding up things, it is a problem. If it's not holding up anything, I don't see it all the time. But let's just follow the rules. We get out there, have fun. 2 threes, just as good. We've played plenty of times.
All the time.
We meet up at the end. We don't have to play 4 hours together in a group. We can go out and play. But they did see that they had 6 balls laying on the green from a par 3, and it's like, I gotta go. So,
but here's the thing, man. For me, this is the part I don't understand. How does that make the news? That's the problem I have.
I think the golfer said remember, it's 2 sides to the story. So when the golfer made his comments of what happened, the golf course came back with their comments. So that's how I found out about
exactly. So if you're wrong, why not just shut up and do your thing, man? If you're wrong, man, you just got to take low and let it go. But he's wrong, and then he's going to get personal. So now he's done. So now the world knows him It's not as a PGA golfer, but as the guy who's kicked off the golf course.
100%.
Yeah. So everybody knows your name for the wrong reason.
In fact, they said they made the comment, "Do you know who I am?" Like,
exactly. I was just about to say, it sounds like, "Do you know who I am?" Came through there and said, "No, you don't know who you are."
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't know who you. But anyway,
man,
we got a great show. Thank you for breaking that down with me. Let's bring our guests up and let's kick this show off, right?
I'm excited, man, because I don't know what's going on.
That's good. Hey, 100%. All right. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and let's bring our guests to the stage.
Let's do it.
There she is, Kristina. How you doing?
Kristina.
Hey, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for being on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I am Big Jack StoryTime. My man Walt Talks. And this is where we are right now, live on YouTube. And we're live on Facebook, live on Twitch. And when this show, once it's over, we'll cut it up and put it in shorts and put it on TikTok and Instagram and all those other cool places. So, but thank you for being here. So
I'm so excited.
No, look, I'm excited, and I know, as Walt always say, he don't know what's going on yet, so he's excited.
But I'm looking at a poster. I'm guessing it says "Trust God no matter what." There you go. So yeah, that's a great start. I mean, that's good information. That information travels well. Trust me. Yeah.
That is. So, Kristina, for everybody that's out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So it all started when I was trying to run away from God and thinking that I was smarter than he was. And I was a good person and checked all those boxes. Well, then one day my husband gets arrested and I'm like, God, if you're there, why me? Like, we're good people, check, and all this stuff. And so I let God have it. And he hugs me in an encounter that I'll never forget. And then I don't know why we do this as people, but then I was like, okay, God, I'm all in if you're all in. Like, God ain't all in. But so I surrendered my life to Jesus that night. My husband surrendered his life while he was in jail. And we went on this journey of following God and being unapologetically sold out for Jesus. And so I started to learn. I went to christianleaders.org, got my bachelor's degree in Christian leadership and started getting certified, got ordained, got all these things, started serving at a church. And in the church, it was awkward, right? Because at church, there's a married group, there's a singles group. But what about the lady whose husband's incarcerated group? Is there a group for that? Wow. No. So people don't realize that sometimes God has you in a season of uncomfortable moments to build something better. And so I was able to build a recovery ministry and started doing that, started jail and prison ministry, homeless ministry, street ministry, all these other things. And it was so uncomfortable to do, but it was the best blessings of my life. So when you ask me who I am now, I'm sold out for Jesus. I'm a person that just goes with the flow, but also loves fiercely. And I'm unapologetically me. And so I love to serve and help, but I'm also more of a, all right, God, what's next? And so my joke is I said I'd never work with kids. I'll do jail, I'll do prison, but I'm not working with kids. I'm in youth ministry right now. I'm in a youth classroom.
Bless your heart.
I learned the hard way.
That's it. You ever want to make God laugh? Just tell him what you're not going to do.
What you're not going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Boy.
So now you got me stumped when you went back to husband went to prison. So So you got to give me a little bit more detail on this story. So what, we walk in the street, we're doing good, we're having a good time, checking all the boxes. You can get arrested for that. I've read about that in the scriptures, but was this the reason? I mean, come on.
No. So when he got arrested, it was more of it was a complete shock of the world. And God said, stay with your husband. You're going to do great things. And I was like, stay with my husband. I want to burn him down in this house, Lord. Like, what do you mean stay with my husband? And so the focus wasn't even about what happened or what was done. It was more of, how do I walk with this and learn how to be the wife? Because I worked at a police department, which is completely awkward. I was looking at my cell phone, looking at the doorbell camera with my coworkers arresting him. And so that was a very fun time. Do not recommend. But you know what? It was the best, worst moment of our lives because we surrendered to Jesus separately and we had to learn what that looked like. It was almost like the wilderness journey. Even though you're married, we're doing it separate and we're doing it in parallel of each other. And so as we were going through the motions of what does this look like, God said, you got to talk to him. And I'm like, talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. I want to, like I was mad, like Latino mad, like I want to put you in the face and I'm done with this. And Lord, like, we're not doing that. And so I said, okay, God, I don't even know how to talk to him. And so the very moment I said that, because God's smarter than all of us, someone texted me and said, heard what happened. Here's how you talk to your husband.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So every moment was us connecting back together. And so I had to reconcile, I had to heal, I had to learn what that looked like. And the very first chat we had was on a video chat. And I was thinking, I'm going to be angry Latina, like, and the very first thing I said to him surprised me. And it was totally Holy Spirit was, I forgive you. And I could feel the weight fall off of me.
You felt relieved too.
That day, forgiveness was for me, not for him. And so, and also for him, but it was. Oh no,
but for you, because that's a lot to hold on to. That's a lot to carry. It is 100%. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So now, how long were you married prior to this?
We were almost newlyweds. We were only married like a couple of years in.
Oh yeah.
So. Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was he got arrested in 2020, and then he was gone for almost 2 years. And so I had to learn what that looked like. And there was a lot of things. The ex-wife tried to freeze our assets and all this stuff and all these things trying to happen. I'm like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And then I had to learn, why am I saying me? All right, God, you said stay. What are we doing here? And now I learned how to make God the pilot and me the passenger. Everyone says, oh, God's my co-pilot. No. I don't want to be co-pilot. You do better than me anyway. So I had to learn how to surrender the control I wanted to have in the situation. And so I start getting visions of my husband ministering to other people. And he's like, ministering to other people in here? And he started ministering to other people. We gave out, Dr. Tony Evans, we gave out his study Bible to over 37 people in the jail and prison while he was there. And they'd give their life to Jesus. They'd surrender, they'd change, they'd do whatever, and their families were better for it. And so there was a lot of ministry inside of our pain that now we help people break free from those things and we help people heal from that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a amazing start, to a ministry. So most people don't have to go through, or they go through some things, but like you say, to be in parallel with each other in two different basically worlds, because you're on the outside looking in, he's on the inside looking out. But you're both with the same ministry or the same mission, and which is really cool. So without going into what he had to go through, and I know, like you say, a lot of it was you, and that's why I asked about how long had you been together, because sometimes,
that matters.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's your first time that you had to be by yourself. It's your first time you had to do, you had to grow. And sometimes when you have a person that's right there with you that you can see and touch every day, it hinders you from growing because you're always leaning on that person. So let me remove that person for a moment, for a season, and it allows you to grow. And now look how strong you are. So that's awesome in itself. All right, that's good. So go ahead, Walt. I see you.
Well, a couple of years. I'm guessing that whatever happened, like I said, we don't need to know the circumstances, but whatever happened is out of character for the person that you married, correct?
Yeah. So it stemmed from trauma, and I can't get into it right now.
We don't need that.
Because kids, our kids are still young.
I get it. But I'm saying for you, it's like, was it like, where did this come from? I mean, I'm guessing it caught you by total
I was
surprise.
completely, totally blindsided. But, the first thought I had, and I don't know where it came from, was who hurt you?
Okay.
And so what I learned is God God never wants bad things to happen to you, but like the story of Joseph, if you allow it, he will use it for good. Right. And so where we hurt, we have the authority to help other people heal if we will be healed ourselves. And so I learned, what does healing look like? What does that look like for the families of incarcerated people? What does that look like for us in our situation? Because we have 2 older kids who are alienated. They were alienated prior to the arrest. That's not the excuse, right? And so we have these already the dynamics of a hostile, blended family. And so how do we follow the Lord and be good stewards of what we have right now? And so one of the things was, God always blessed us in amazing ways. For example, how can I, when I'm not making the salary he was, live in the same house until I could sell it for over a year, live in the same space, to be able to maintain a life for my daughter and I, and things like that. So we had miracle after miracle, but one prayer I had was the Lord told me, tell your husband to take the plea deal. And I'm like, take the plea deal? We was going to fight this. Like, take the plea deal. Do you know what happened? Like, the Lord don't know. And so I said, okay, Lord, how about this? You tell my husband to take the plea deal and I'll just confirm it, because I don't want him mad at me. And so I was obedient, because delayed obedience is still disobedience. So I said, okay, to my husband, hey, listen, my love, God is telling me to tell you to take the plea deal, but I don't want you to listen to me. I want us to take it to the Lord together. So how about you pray before the end of this call that let it be so in your face that you'll know that's the right move for you. So he prays the dangerous prayer, Lord, let it be so in my face. He gets off the phone because, the jail only has like 15 minutes. Somebody calls him out of the line and is like, hey, Chris, come here. And he comes, and the guy gets in his face and says, take the plea deal.
Wow.
What was the prayer?
Wow.
So then I did another. Yeah.
Wow.
So I did another dangerous prayer, the next prayer, and everybody laughed at me. And I'm like, how can we be believers who don't believe God can do anything? I said, let him be surrounded because he only had a couple months to go for prison. I said, let him be surrounded by strong Christian men. Tell me why in the state of North Carolina, he went to the only prison that has a seminary block and was surrounded by Christian men. Joe Gibbs funds that seminary block so that the men could get seminary degrees and be field ministers in there. So essentially pastors inside of the prisons. And so he was surrounded by Christian men, and there was no way he should have been able to get there because they had like a 5-year waiting list, 13 years minimum to be in there to get in. And he got right in. And so God answers prayers. And people can judge you for all the things and not understand all the stuff that's going on. But again, look at how he's blessed our lives because of our obedience. Did he want us to do bad things? Absolutely not. But he gave us chance after chance to redeem ourselves and follow him and love him and serve him. And that's what we do.
All right. So it's amazing.
I knew I'd get you with that one.
No, but the thing is, and I want to talk, and I want to talk to you real for the listeners and all out there, because we do get really cross sometimes when people do bad things outside. They get inside, and then all of a sudden, I found Jesus, and now everything is better. So because of your work in the prison ministry, let's just go with that, and your husband's experience inside, help us understand that better. Help us understand that there are some people that are real, and then there's we can't help those who are not. But go ahead. Okay.
Scripture calls us to help walk with people, but they have to carry their own load. And so there needs to be an understanding how to help people. So when I did prison ministry and I ran the recovery ministry at the same time, I invited every single one of them, because they were local, to come to my recovery ministry. We would help them. We would not do for them, but we would help them learn how to do for themselves. 5 people came out of the hundreds, right? And then one person has transformed completely, with the exclusion of my husband. We're not going to count him.
Right.
And so we can't look at, this person's going to change, whatever. My job is to share Jesus with them. Their job is to accept it or not. I don't need to decide who that is. I'm ministering right now to a person who murdered their mother in prison. And his mom was a witch. And she did lots of horrible things to that. You're not going to hear that side, right? And he snapped. Is it okay to murder your mother? Absolutely not. But I don't know what I would have went through if my mom did those things to me, right? I don't know what my limit was. I don't know what I would have done, but I can't give up on him, even though I don't agree with what he did. It's not my job to decide what the judge and jury does. He's paying for his time. He's doing his stuff. But because I've ministered to him, because we are helping him find Jesus, he is now able to talk to other people about Jesus, and they're starting to read the Bible. What they do with that, we can't dictate. But if we never share, no one has the opportunity to transform. Jesus was pursuing me my entire life. I had no relationship with him until trauma happened. Everyone else didn't know how to help me or take me, especially when God's telling me to do one thing and my assignment's not a conference call. And so it's wigging everyone else out because they're like, I don't want any part of this. Well, then be gone, because I have an assignment to do and I'm gonna stay in my lane and do it. And so while I'm disappointed when people have, I call it the jail talk. Oh yeah, I found Jesus. I'm all that. But I always tell them, you are going to continue in your circle until you leave that circle. If I continue to go back to the circle of abuse, I'm going to continue to be abused. You have to change the loop. And so I try to teach them, but they have to want it. And so I might be the seed planter. I can't determine who's going to change or not. But one thing I did notice, and it's a music video. It's Micah Tyler Walking Free music video. And the guy actually is a real person out of Monroe, North Carolina. He was in jail like 99 times. And on the 99th time of hearing someone preach, it finally hit his spirit. And he transformed, started ministries, started doing all these things, changed completely. So what if I'm option number 72 for that person and it only needs one more time? Who am I to say, I'm going to write them off? I'm glad God didn't write me off. And so although it's disappointing, we don't want to give up, but we hold firm boundaries.
So you say disappointing. I have a great question on that, because I've often said that, like, you give people this information, they don't take the information, and I'm disappointed that they didn't take the information. But you said you can't control what they do with it. They have to do it, right? Our responsibility as friends, people, families, whatever, is to make this information available to them, right? So for like a quick minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long it takes in my situation, it's like I realize, okay, everything we do is self-serving. Let's be clear about that. If I walk an old lady across the street at the grocery store, I don't want to see her get hit. I'm self-serving, right? So we all do things because we can't want more for other people than we want for ourselves. Our responsibility is just to give them the information. Just like you knew the information when you were running from God, right? But yet you kept running. I mean, we all have. I mean, I certainly have. I can speak for myself. So now when you see this, there has to be a great sense of relief. And you have to have a great understanding. I'm sure you feel a understanding that, okay, God, you're still doing your thing. I mean, like, you're still trying to dictate to him what's going to happen. I mean, he's going to work it out one way or the other. But it's like I'm still amazed at myself, because I do that. I am definitely guilty of that. Like, yeah, but this is so much better for you. It's like almost like eat your vegetables. You know what I mean? you can't make people make people see it sometimes, and they won't see it sometimes until they go sit down somewhere. And that's why we don't throw people away. And that's why, luckily, fortunately, we don't get to judge people, because he didn't judge us, because
I'd be in trouble.
I'm like, in spite of myself, I'm still here. And I tell Jack this all the time. I have made some terrible decisions with extreme confidence through my entire life, and it's just like, luckily, fortunately, through the grace of God, I'm still here. I'm still here trying to figure it out. So yeah, good for you. That's great.
I think it's how we learn too. And so like, even teaching and ministering to people, I try to reach them where they're at in the language they understand. And so I don't try to be someone I'm not, But sometimes people need to heal a layer first. I used to punch first, ask questions later, right? And I do that because I would hurt you before you had the opportunity to hurt me, so I could be right that, oh, look, they left. I'm right. Right. And so I had to learn how to, okay, what are the layers I'm observing of a person? Let's knock some of them layers off before we even get to the discussion on God, because I'm the only Bible they're reading. And so my behavior has to match.
So they're going to judge your behavior more than they'll judge your words, 100%.
Well, I mean, really, people want to know if you're going to be, are you real? I mean, because, I mean, anyone can come to me and read right out of the scriptures. I mean, they're there. The book is there. It's older than 2,000, 3,000 years. So you're not saying anything new. And you don't know what role you're playing because as the scriptures say, one plants the seed, one waters the seed, but God gives the increase. So you don't know what part of this plan that you're in. You might be in the watering phase. You might be in the planting phase. So to say you don't know, but some of us are in the tilling of the ground phase. I still got to dig some of this dirt up so we can even plant the seed. So there's some levels that's in there. And a lot of it is, again, God's going to give the increase. So once you understand that part and you know your role, it's not for me to be the judge, the jury, or the executioner, because that's not any of my roles. You know, I was a correction officer, Kristina, you would know that, but I was a correction officer. So I've seen many converts in the, and I'm like, I see you all day, all night, every time I'm here. And I know outside that would be frowned upon as a Christian. But it's not for me to say if you're a believer or not, because you have a personal relationship. It's not for me to say. And I didn't know what anyone was in there for. I would never even look. And they would come and do, you know what I'm in for? Nope, I don't. You know what you're in for. I don't need to know what you're in for. All I know is it used to be my joke. I know you're not in here for skipping Sunday school. That would be my joke. I know you're not in here for skipping Sunday school. So with that being said, you know, it was just one of those, it didn't matter what you was in here for because I didn't put you here. My job was just to watch you. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to make you safe and keep you safe. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to let, you know, meaning that you was, as I say, it was a men's prison. So I said, you was a man when you walked in, you'll be a man when you walk out, as far as I'm concerned. So that was all it was about for me. But at the same time, you know, the word is on your heart. The word is in you. You want to share all of these things. And then, like you say, when you're obedient, you'll share when it's time to share. Sometimes it's just listen. Sometimes just listen. Listen goes a long way. But then it's time to talk. But sometimes we talk so much that we don't hear what the other person is saying, and they're not getting anything with that. So I want to share this little part because I know you said you did prison ministry, then you said recovery. So how did the recovery go? So you're in this new church, and they got the couples, and they got the children, and they got the singles, and all of a sudden you come in with
this problem.
We're the broken. So I am a researcher by nature. I'm just I'm just a nerd. And so I was like, let me look and see what healing ministries there are out there. And so I found a Celebrate Recovery at a different church. And I'm like, well, I go to this church. I think every church should have a recovery. And so I went to I wasn't an alcoholic by any means, but I wanted to investigate what these groups look like. So I went to AA, I went to Codependence Anonymous. I went to all these places and I'm like, what do they have in common? Why are these people? What's good? What doesn't work? What, you know, all the stuff. And I went to the preacher's wife and I said, hey, it'd be a really great idea if you guys started Celebrate Recovery. It looks like a great plan, you know, whatever. I'll help, you know, whoever leads it. And she's like, I've been praying on that. How about you lead it? And I thought here's where you think you're smarter than God. I'm like, oh, no, not me. I was thinking like, okay, how about if God funds it, I'll lead it. Thinking that's the end of that, case closed. I go to work the next day. A guy shows up at my job, asks for me by name, hands me a check, and it says from God. I kid you not, $2,000. Covered the whole program because I wanted kids, teens, and adults. I wanted it all. It covered everything to start it.
Wow.
And in the memo, from God.
From God.
Yeah. Wow.
So I guess I'm starting a recovery ministry. So that was.
So now with the recovery ministry, I know you focus on, is it just all the different issues that you
everything?
Okay.
So I wanted to focus on anything and everything. So it was more than just Celebrate Recovery. It was helping people break free from pornography. It was helping people break free from pride. It was codependency. It was anything you needed to get that log out of your own eye, just to be healed. And so the goal was to give you a hand up, not a handout. And so there was no judgment. You were mixed in. I did not want to hear, I am an alcoholic. You're not an alcoholic. If the Holy Spirit lives in us and we're speaking to whatever we say and whatever we say is so, that's not what I want you to say, right? I'm achieving victory over whatever, fine, but you are not that downfall. You've got to break up with it. You got to stop identifying as it. And so what I learned was what you identify with will keep you trapped. And so if you feel like you are unworthy, you're right, because you will not get out of that loop. And so I learned about people being stuck in a loop, and I had to learn how to kind of, with like a chainsaw, break that loop and bring a new path. And so there's a thing called neuroplasticity, which is a fancy way of saying the rewiring of your brain, which is Romans 12, the renewal of your mind. And so I was like, if we can renew the mind and do something different, then they're going to be different. And that's what we did. And we focused on the renewal of the mind, doing life together. So there was something for everyone, but I wasn't running everything. Like, I am not your God. You know, we can do family, we can be family, we can do life, but there needs to be other people in place where you don't rely on one person, because then it becomes prideful and then it becomes all these other things. And it takes away from letting God be God. But people need to walk with you for a while. And so it's a imitate me as I imitate Christ moment, where they were walking with me as I was just 5 minutes ahead of them. And so you just got to be 5 minutes ahead of someone to help them lift up.
So now, what you just explained, how's that any different in church? So everybody sitting in the pews got something going on. So is it just where I got my daily word on Sunday, but this is where I had an extra classroom or group session that I can come and get a little bit more fuel or food? Right.
Oh, sorry. In a non-disrespectful way, it wasn't a TED Talk. We were showing you and we were walking you through it, and then you had time to process and discuss. And so now we gave you, depending on how many people were in the group, and we tried to keep them small, so we had a lot of groups. You had men with men, women with women. There was never a reason that a woman needed to tell a man anything and a man needed to tell a woman anything in a private, personal setting. Women with women, men with men. And so having that couple minutes to talk, and you're not allowed to slander anyone, you're not allowed to talk about anybody else, you're only allowed to talk about what you're going through, your life, your anything. And so I made sure my leaders would only speak truth about what they were going through, because I had been to other places and their leaders were like, oh, this was a great message and all that stuff. And I'm like, how am I going to tell you all my stuff and you don't tell me anything? So I would lead by example. I'm like, let me tell you what I messed up on today. Let me tell you how good God is and what I learned. And so people learned from me because I was honest, real, and raw. And I would just throw it out there. And I'm not afraid to say anything about me. Anyone else is their business, right? But so that you could see, oh wow, she's not perfect, because people be like, oh, you should pray. God's got a direct line with you. I'm like, I got a direct line with you. You need to pray. It doesn't have to be me. And so just teaching and leading by example, but pointing it back to the one who changes all things.
No. Thank you for breaking it down. Because again, the church itself has received some black eyes over time, because everyone is not real. Everyone is not, and it really does hurt anyone who's out there trying to do the real thing. That's really trying to do God's work, God's will. Because we do see so many others at the same time. And it's like, okay, so if this is God, how is he allowing this to happen over here and allow this to happen over here? And it gets confusing. So, and I know that to be true. So with that being said, I appreciate you sharing your parts to that and explaining how what makes the sessions different, or the ministry that was not so much created, but that you brought to the church that you were part of. And that was something that was probably needed. And it might be, I'm not even sure how it's doing. So how is that ministry doing now from the time you brought it to now?
Funny story.
Okay.
I was actually let go from that church because people were coming to me. I was part-time and they were going to me and not the other pastors. There became this rift, and I would go to them directly for things. And then I would ask and they wouldn't do the things. And then it was like, oh, you're not being cooperative. And oh, you're not doing this. And it was like the finger pointing where you keep telling me I'm not doing, but how many fingers are pointing back at you?
That's right.
So there was a ministry partner that wanted my position, slandered me for an entire year. Finally got the position. Don't know how they're doing now, but I was in limbo and I was like, okay, Lord, he told me to leave a year before I did. And I didn't leave because I wanted to help the people, but I didn't realize that was a form of pride I needed to break up with, because isn't God God? Can't he take care of the people? Like, why was that my responsibility? I loved them so much that entire year, it was like painfully obvious he was going to make sure that I never went back. And so I ended up writing a book. And one of the things they let me go, they said, because I teach about deliverance and stuff, anything that's in the Bible, we have a deliverance ministry my husband and I run. We do all these things, and we teach about the neuroplasticity, rewiring of your brain. Be careful what you speak, renounce and, repent for things, bloodline repentance, where, hey, we don't know what our ancestors did, but there's generational curses. And so depending on what is going on in the line, there's certain categories of people I won't name here that they curse their own bloodline. And so if you have that in your family, you got to repent and renounce for that so that it can break off of you. That's all we do is like, look in the Bible. This is where God talks about deliverance. This is what we do. We use the word of God, as Proverbs 4:20 to 4:27 talks about, don't go left, don't go right, pay attention to my word. And so we try to use the word as a weapon, because the word is a sword. And so they didn't like that. And they tried to say that I was teaching false theology because they were only focused on the happiness, like the TED Talk, like and so, and that doesn't work for people who are hurting. And so many times I walk in the church and I couldn't even go to church because people were crying on my shoulder and I was helping them, and they'd go to me and they wouldn't go to other people. And it wasn't like, oh, look, it's the me show. And I'd be like, hey guys, we need more, like this is the problems here. And I'm trying to show you what we have, so it was a whole thing. But I published this book. And God said, hey, apply for these awards. And so I started to apply for awards, and I didn't know I needed healing in that area, because the first 2 awards I got, and I've gotten more since then, were for the theology and doctrine of the book. And I was like, it's the real, you can't even, if you had false doctrine, they wouldn't even let you have it. So God redeemed me in so many ways. And people were calling me like, how did you get let go for false theology, but you're getting these awards? I'm like, you're going to have to talk to your people. I'm over here doing what God told me to do. I can't answer those questions. Right. But although I was hurt by that, I was creating hurt too, because somehow I was punching back. Right. And that creates animosity when I shouldn't have been there that last year. I shouldn't have. And so, I pray blessings for them and wish them the best, but I'm thankful to be able to stay real and raw, because that's what people need.
Right.
If TED Talks worked, we'd be fine.
So basically you just held the mirror to the leadership, and maybe not the congregation, but to the leadership. And, they didn't like what they saw.
No.
Okay. It happens a lot, especially if you're, again, that's why I go back to the real and fake, and you doing God's will and doing what God has asked you to do. Because I remember, this is one of my little quick stories, but doing a Bible study class, and one of the people sitting out in the congregation had a really, really, really bad headache. I mean, really bad headache, and had been having headaches for like weeks. So called that person up, and we prayed with that person. And I used the olive oil that was there. So I anointed her head with oil and prayed with her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying I did anything, because all I did was what the scripture told me to do. And but her headaches went away. So the next day or a couple of days later, I'm sitting in the office with the elders and the pastor, telling me how wrong I was for using the oil that was in their pulpit under their podium. I'm like, why is it there? Well, it's there, but we don't use it. I'm like, the scriptures say use it, everything about it. But it's like, so again, when you're doing something, and that's why I questioned it, and I asked, it wasn't to say you was not doing the right thing, whatever, but I can imagine the pride of everyone else when you got this little group on the side and helping people and delivering
it's
people.
growing.
Oh my God, how dare you come in here and take church? You taking church. You're trying to build your own congregation. It is so much, unfortunately. So, but you talked about your book. So I got to pop it up on the screen. And I want you to break it down.
May I add a disclaimer for the church part real quick? And I want people to understand, we don't go to church for other people. We go to church for God. And you 100%. Might be the person that goes into church and makes a difference. So don't give up on church. Yes, that church hurt me and I hurt that church, right? There was friction, but there were a lot of good things that came from that friction that needed to happen. So don't ever quit on God because of people, because people will always fail you, but God never will.
No.
All right, sorry.
Disclaimer. No. Hey, thank you for all those who are out there watching Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We got Miss Kristina Gibbons, if I make sure I say it right. Okay. And if you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button. And we do have your book, at least the cover. Anyway, we're going to put it up on the screen. All right. So there we are. All right. Is that the book?
Yes. So that's my baby.
Okay. Yes, your baby. All right.
Oh, yeah. So it's won over 5 awards. I can't put them all on the cover. There'd be no room to see the thing. And honestly, it's been pretty cool because it's a journey with Jesus and it's got so many different topics on it, why I created the book, but it talks about before you entered the battle. It talks about the squatter in your mind. And people don't realize that your mind is part of the battle and we have to get rid of that stinking thinking. And so it's a workbook, not a read book. You are going to work. And if you put the work in, you will not be the same. And so it talks about salvation, learning how to pray. It has the courtroom of heaven and it just shows you what that looks like. It has rounds in there to help fight and train for the war. Because if you're a soldier for the Lord, which we all are, whether you believe so or not, and you're not putting your uniform on, the armor of God every day, are you ready for battle? No. But can you, if you were enlisted in the army, say, I don't feel like going to work today? Also no. So the battle's here, whether you want it to be here or not. And so this book is going to be life transforming because it even talks about fasting, rest as a weapon, authority and identity. By the time you think you're oh, okay, I've got this down, you're into a whole new part of where the Lord just takes you and knocks you out in a good way, because the iron sharpens iron, right? What do we got to do? There's got to be friction. You can't have that blade sharpened if there's no friction, if there's no, there's got to be something that gets you out of your comfort zone. You cannot grow in your comfort zone. So if you're comfortable, get this book and wake up, because comfort is not where you're supposed to be.
Wow. So where can we find the book?
Amazon or anywhere books are sold online. But if you look up From Battlefield to Breakthrough, Amazon.com is probably going to be your fastest choice. You can do Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, things like that. But the goal is for you to do it. It's not good enough just to purchase it. It will change your life. And that's what I want to see, is the feedback that we've gotten from this book has been amazing for the people who have done it. And so don't look at this as, oh, I'm going to get this book and put it on a shelf. This is a life-transforming book, if you would allow it to be, from my years of experience in recovery, walking with the Lord, getting hit by 2x4s myself, breaking down the Christian language and what Scripture says versus what people say Scripture says. Like, here's the historical context. Here's what the Greek word says. Look at the Hebrew and things like that. And not in a way that's overwhelming, but it's lesson, example, now your turn, because you learn by doing. And that's why it's a workbook, because you got to do it yourself.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great plug for the book. If you haven't already, I'm going to put it back up on the screen real quick just so we can see it again. Make sure you go to Amazon.com or wherever books are sold and look for From Battlefield to Breakthrough, the Foundation by Kristina Gibbons, award winner, Kristina Gibbons. So definitely check that book out if you get a chance, and do it, not just buy it, do it.
That's right.
There you go.
Workbook, not a read book.
It's a workbook, not a read book, 100%. So thank you for even bringing that to our attention. So how is the ministry going now? So you're not with that church anymore.
I'm not with that church. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm so sorry for interrupting you. I get so excited.
No.
I'm not sure. So I wanted to lick my wounds for a little bit. And God said, one day you're going to have a church. And I'm like, does that mean right now, Lord? Because I ain't ready for no church right now. And so I started to finish writing the books. I have more books along the way. And I still went to church, but I started, I'm going to go on a church tour. Let's have fun. Like, why be like, let's just see what's out there. And a gentleman, a youth pastor, he kept saying, hey, you should come over here. We have youth on Sunday nights. And I'm like, youth? I'll go to prison, but like youth, they scary. Like, I don't want to do that. And so I said, because I thought I was being smart, I taught a women's group on Sunday nights. And I said, okay, Lord, if you want me to do it, and I don't know why I don't know better by now. I said, if you want me to do it, let the ladies tell me they'd prefer like Monday night or Thursday night, because those are the only 2 nights I have free. Guess what? The very next meeting was, hey, can we move this to Monday? And I'm like, okay. So God said, go. And I went. Did I do it scared? Absolutely. But God didn't give me a spirit of fear. And so I said, okay, what am I going to learn here? And so the very first day, the youth pastor goes, oh, this is Pastor K. She is a great teacher. She's going to teach tonight. And I said, what? And so the Holy Spirit took over and I taught and they loved it. And so it's been such an honor to help be part of the discipleship formation here for the youth. They're hungry. They're ready to grow. So I'm essentially doing recovery ministry with Jesus over here for younger, and we'll add the adults and stuff eventually. But it's beautiful to see that God, if it's not good, God's not done, right? And God wasn't done with me. Even though they didn't see the value of what I was bringing, I wasn't supposed to be there. That was my fault. I should have left a year prior. So delayed obedience is disobedience. And I paid for that.
Okay. All right. All right. So now it's just a couples ministry going on now? You and the husband? Is he working with you?
So my husband's working with the men. And so he works with the men because he works a different schedule and things like that. So he works with the men. He has a men's group on Zoom that he works with, and he helps break down the study. And he has like a kingdom men. And so he does that while I work with the kids at the actual youth ministry here. And it's actually better because our goal is to hit the parents too. And our goal is to make sure that everyone's reached. And so we work together for our deliverance ministry and praying with people and things like that. But we do separate when it comes to our anointing, because he really excels with shaping up and helping men because he's been there. He's like, hey, even work, right? I should have said no in these situations. My family comes first as a spiritual head of the house. Here's some of the things that I learned along the way, and it helps the men realize what the priority is for them too.
Okay. All right. That's it sounds exciting. Sounds like it's all lining up and moving in the right direction.
We're trying.
So now, what happened to the women? Because you moved them to Monday.
How's that Monday night go?
So we're doing Monday still, and they like it. So what's cool about the women is that they just believe in the power of prayer. And so some of them are joining me on Sundays here. And so we're working on maybe doing something for the whole family on a different night as well, because we want to make sure that you realize parents should be seen worshiping with their children. Right. And not just leaving them somewhere else, because the kids imitate you more than you realize. And so if they see you as the authority figure, surrendering themselves to the Lord, what do you think they're going to do? And so we want to teach it's okay to love the Lord together. It's okay to have hard conversations. Let's guide that and show you how until you know how to do it yourself. And so we're open to anything, but it's doing life with. It's not just, oh, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Hey, buy my book. Have a great day. It's not nothing to do with that. It's, hey, what did God say to do? Why aren't we doing that? Well, okay, now we're in the loop. How do we break up with that loop? Okay, where's the chainsaw? We got to break the cycle. And so,
there you go. Yeah.
What?
Oh, sorry.
All right. No, I think it was a blip somewhere. I don't know what happened, but I got you.
I thought you bought this little chainsaw up there.
All right.
No, it's all good. We're all good. So it's amazing because you're listening to the story and hearing all about it. So let's come outside the church. That's outside the church, because not saying that you can spend every hour, waking hour, serving the Lord, but you don't have to be inside the church. So what is it like outside the church? How's the family going? How's your child or your children receiving, because the pastor's kid, the PKs out there, how are they going with this ministry and this walk of life and all of this? How's that for them?
So his 2 adult children are alienated. They've been alienated for quite some time. And so we always pray for them. We send them mail. We try to send them love the best we can, but they are not in a space to receive it. And so we continue to pray for them, love them, to whatever their boundary looks like. And we just trust the Lord to redeem that one day, and we'll be here with arms wide open. While that being said, my daughter, I had a hostile relationship with her father. It didn't work out. She's supposed to be 50-50. Right now, she's with me full time, and she is a track queen. Like, that girl can run, and she will run. She's like, that's where I like to talk to God. So she's in here at the church with me. I have my own pastoral counseling and life coaching practice. And sometimes she's like a junior coach helping me do things in the leadership department and stuff, but I let her be a teen as much as possible too. So when she's not running her life away and doing all the things, she's priority for us because she's our future. But if you look at a triangle and you think about a relationship, it's God first. And my husband has to have his own relationship with God, and I have to have my own relationship with God. And that's how we can truly be one. And so our marriage has to come first too. So we date, we still spend time together, like even on the couch, coffee date, right? Because the world's so expensive sometimes and we volunteer a lot. But we just make sure that our relationship is a priority so that we can model what a strong relationship looks like. Because we don't want, like, if you think about my daughter and she's in the age where she can date and things like that, we want her to think, I don't want to take abuse. I want to see, like, I want my relationship to be modeled of a godly one, or I want my spiritual head of the household to look like a leader. And I don't want to just be with someone because, I'm getting attention in a negative way. And so we try to always live the life where we're serving the Lord and we're unapologetically believers. But when we are not in church or volunteering or doing whatever we're doing, we're dating, we're having fun, we're living life. We're still serving, but we're serving each other. I hope that made sense.
Yes.
That made sense. So now in the world of social media, Zoom calls, technology, all of that stuff. So are you expanded as far as, like, if I can't get to your building, how can I reach you? So I know that there's a way to go ahead.
Oh, pastorkristina.com, Kristina with a K, and then that gets you a free discovery call, and then we can see what you need from me. And so my goal is to serve and help people heal, but you should not need, therapy is excellent. I'm a pastoral counselor. I think everyone should, whether you get counseling or pastoral counseling, whatever, someone sometimes needs to have a good sounding board, but there needs to be direction in your life and there needs to be a point of graduation. If you have not changed in 10 years and you're still seeing the same therapist, probably need a new therapist. And so I believe you should interview your coach or your therapist to see, hey, is this a right fit? Is this an alignment of where I want to go? Because I don't know how to get there. And so interview people. And so if you want to interview me, right, let's make sure you're going somewhere. And if you don't know what that direction is, I can help you, but I'm going to kick your butt in the best way possible, right? I'm not going to let you stay the same. And so if you want to be coddled, don't call me. That's the best way I could tell you. Don't call me, because we're in the iron sharpen iron, and there's no sharpening there. And so I believe in doing and I believe in action. And so I want to support you, but I will not support you stay stagnant.
I'm a believer of that, and I appreciate you saying that. I say still water is dead. So if it's not moving, it's dead. So nothing live is in that thing. So it has to have some movement. Sometimes even going backwards is something, but it got to move. We can get you to move forward, even if you're, well, I took 2 steps back. Okay, well, now let's get you going forward. So that goes back to our little golf analogy sometimes, Walt, where I say at least the ball is moving forward. You get a little bit closer to the green, even if it was a bad shot. You're a little bit, it moved forward. So we don't want to go back. But go ahead, Walt.
Let me ask you this. If you were on the edge of, I'm not even going to say a cliff, I'm going to say the creek that I tried to jump about 15 years ago when I realized that my creek jumping days were over. What do? You take a step back, right? You take a step back to try to spring yourself up. So sometimes you got to take a step back, man. Sometimes you just have to. I mean, and the thing is, everything we've been through in our lives, we've been successful because we've lived through, at least, whether you call it success or not, we're still here. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. So, you may as well get it right the first time if possible. And we know how hard that is as human beings. We always try to avoid the inevitable, and then the inevitable beats us up twice as much because we don't deal with it the first time. Just speaking from experience for myself. So yeah, I mean, I salute you for that. It's a good attitude to have, and like you said, no sense of being scared now. I mean, you've been through the tough times. I mean, your testimony is strong. You've had to deal with this, the family situation, had to deal with the church. I mean, so at this point, like, it's easy work, right? I mean, it's not easy, but it's not, nothing surprises you anymore other than probably just the greatness of God. I mean, what you experiencing on that end, but the negative stuff seems like everything that they could have thrown at you has been thrown at you. So good for you.
We move from glory to glory. And the reality is, if I wanted to be a victim, I'd be so, and I'd be stuck. And so I've chosen not to be a victim. And I made my mistakes too. How many times have I said that in this conversation, right? I've made my own mistakes, but I've learned and I've gotten better, and I hope to not make those mistakes again. There's a difference between blatant sin and being human and just having error, right? And so just having the mindset of keep moving forward. And like you said, taking a step back might be the best thing sometimes, because you're going into a new direction and you were in the wrong direction to begin with. So taking a step back and pivot and go somewhere else is perfectly fine as long as you keep moving.
Keep moving, move. And Lord knows, I'm like, man, what am I doing here? Good grief. How, in spite of myself, I'm still here. So I can just laugh sometimes. Yeah.
So Kristina, it seemed like I've maybe walked in similar shoes that you've had. So what is your 9 to 5? So are you a full-time in ministry, or do you actually go somewhere and pay your bills type thing?
So paying bills is my pastoral counseling practice, the pastorkristina.com. And so I'd like to say author one day will pay the bills, but right now I'm just grateful that it's out there. I serve in a volunteer basis. If they want to hire me, I'm not mad, but I trust God to provide. He said to be here, and so I'm being obedient. I'm not putting terms and limitations. I said, I ain't mad if there's a salary come with it, Lord. But the reality is, when God guides, he'll provide. And so I got to get out of the way and do that. So right now, it's not really 9 to 5 because I get to be mom. I get to be wife. I got to be minister. But my pastoral counseling schedule is all over the place. I do work part-time by the grace of God at christianleaders.org. It's a college you can get free Christian classes at. And so I get to welcome people in and just kind of show them around and stuff. It's one of my favorite things to do, meet people. I talk to people all over the world, and that helps, pay the bills or whatever, but mainly just whatever God says to do. And sometimes the things that I don't expect to get a blessing from, a check will come in the mail or something will happen. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I see you. So God's my ultimate provider, but I do whatever needs to happen to help. And my husband's an excellent provider as well. But, all this stuff going on with the teenage girl and the future car and all this stuff, we just got to be prepared for everything.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Lots of prayer, please.
Yeah, lots of prayer. You thought you've been through some stuff before. Huh? Okay.
This is the last one. Once we're done with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with the teenage years. Oof.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but
yeah. So we're not gonna go into teen. That's a whole different show, different. So, but without that, and that's good. So we're really at the end of the hour. So Kristina, is there anything that we didn't touch on? Is there something that you say, man, I forgot to say, or I wish I would have said? So give us that. What is that one thing that you want to share to the world right now before we close this show out that we might not have talked about in our conversation today? So please share that.
What's really impressed on me is don't slander your spouse, whoever you are, right? Don't slander your spouse. Don't be negative about your spouse. That person is not supposed to be your enemy or your friends or whoever. The more you talk negatively about someone, the more you train your brain that you don't like them, and it makes it impossible for reconciliation. And so whatever you say, you're right, even when you're wrong, because you've trained your brain to come into agreement with it. So be careful on how we talk to each other. And it's very tiring to minister to people who slander their spouse and don't see the problem with that, because their whole body language changes with that person. And how do you expect that guy to be your Boaz when you're not willing to be Ruth? And so if I could say anything, is be careful on how we talk to each other, because how we talk to each other dictates what we believe about the other person. And none of us are perfect, and we all fall short. So be careful. I know it hurts.
What?
Only Jesus. No. But that's
man. Oh man.
No, and look, and that's definitely a good message even to close on, because many times, and you talked about that beam in your eye. So you see the speck in your partner's eye or someone else's eye, but you can't see the beam that's in your own eye. But that's just life. That really is life, because it's not me, it's you. You're the problem. It's not me. Like you say, the fingers pointing, all of those things that goes on. And we talk about it, we know about it, but so many times we just don't see it, because I want someone to tell me that I'm right and they're wrong. And so I can say, I told you so, or just give you satisfaction on why you're going through what you're going through. It's not me, it's you. So with all that being said, but Kristina, I'm going to ask you to hold back as we close the show out. We thank you for being a guest on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show.
Thank you.
This was truly a blessing to have you here. I'm going to put the book up one more time for those who didn't have opportunity to see it. But make sure you go on Amazon.com or anywhere else books are sold. From Battlefield to Breakthrough, The Foundation by Kristina Gibbons. And it is a workbook, not a... Let me see.
Read book.
It's not a read book. It's a workbook. So it is. It's a workbook, not a read book. So do it. Don't just buy it. Do the book. So with that being said, Kristina, we're going to close the show out. We'll ask you to hang back for a second, and we'll talk to you behind stage. Everyone else who's been out there, we thank you for tuning in today to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We ask you to continue to tune in, continue to support. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to be a guest on the show, just reach out to us at Big Jack StoryTime guests at gmail.com. And I have no problem love putting different people up so we can always hear these different perspectives, different stories, different world lessons. So thank you all. Until next time, have a great week, and we will talk to you later. Kristina, hang back. Thank you. All right, Walt. Thank you, man.